All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the highlight reel. This is episode 3 and the second week of our continuous highlight reel podcast World Championship coverage. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, this is episode 3 of the highlight reel, and we are in for another good little episode today. So I appreciate y'all joining me and taking a little time out your day and y'all's busy schedules to watch or to listen or whatever you got going on to just chill here for a few minutes. As usual, we're gonna do the State of the Union here in a second, but quick welcome back and also welcome to anybody who's new. If you're not aware of what the highlight reel is, it's my solo podcast, something that we actually started way back in 2020 in the pandemic, but that I just sort of picked up again and started doing again last week with episode 2. So this is episode 3. 1 week later, it has officially been a week of us, or of me, I guess, doing my schedule for my content that I laid out, which has been going pretty well. I hope it's been enjoyable for you guys thus far. I mean, obviously, it's probably just seems like normal videos and normal releases and stuff, but I talked about it a lot last week, but I'm trying to sort of take the next steps as a creator to just sort of better my content and come up with a little bit of a better formula and process. And I want to have consistent stuff coming out. I want to be making good stuff. I want it to come out all the time. And I want to just, I don't know, I just enjoy making stuff. I have a lot of fun. And I figure being on a schedule and having consistent and sort of predictable releases will be just better and easier. But yeah. Not going to talk any more about that because I talked in length about it in the last episode, so you can go listen to the last week's show if you want to. But yeah, with all that said, we're just kind of going to jump into it. There's not a whole lot to talk about today, but there's a couple things we're going to talk about. It's sort of like I mentioned last week. I'm sure we're going to have busy weeks and we're going to have not so busy weeks. And so I feel like the topics that we're going to talk about are going to vary a lot. So, State of the Union this week in Halo. First thing, biggest story, I guess, probably, is Spartan just got dropped from Sentinels. Actually, the day that y'all see this, I think it should be Tuesday that y'all see this, but it happened Monday, so yesterday from y'all's point of view. Spartan just got dropped from Sentinels. So obviously Sentinels, formerly Lethal, Spartan, Falcated, and Boo Boo Doo with Coach Chig. They formed, I believe, about a year ago. They formed that roster. It was before the Arlington event, which was Major 3 of last year, if I'm not mistaken. And they obviously were one of the better teams on the back half of last season, one of the only teams that was really able to challenge in the top 4, but also their placings were a little bit sporadic. So I think they went like top 4, top 8, and then, or maybe they might have gone top 4, top 2, and then top 8. I can't remember specifically, but they did get a second place at Salt Lake City last year. And I believe they were the only roster that stuck together through the off season. But then obviously, fast forward to Arlington, Major 1 of this year, and they placed, I believe, top 20 or top 24 or top 16, maybe. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass here. They placed like horribly. I'm pretty sure. This is part of what I missed because remember I was traveling. I was on a cruise. But regardless, they were gunning for their normal placing. You know, top 4, top 6. Probably wanted to challenge top 3. And I think they placed something horrible. It was like top 16 or top 20 or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, fast forward a few days after that, and I believe they even said something to the effect of like, we're sticking or we're not making a change, or maybe they didn't say anything. But we were all pretty curious to see what the fallout of that situation was going to be. And I believe Spartan tweeted, he put out a thread on Twitter 3 or 4 days ago at this point now, talking about he had some health problems and a couple things that were sort of impacting his performance and just sort of his well-being at the tournament. And I think he even reiterated at that point that they weren't going to make a change but that he was taking the steps to sort of fix that and to try to improve his health. And then fast forward to yesterday, find out the news that he's dropped. And he put out another thread on Twitter, and to his credit, was very professional and even outright said, I have no hard feelings. Don't attack the players on Sentinels or the organization, because he mentioned how Sentinels was probably the best organization that he's played for. Still, it's definitely unfortunate, and it's definitely I don't want to say not a great look to let go of somebody in the middle of their health problems, because obviously, like, it's not. I mean, from their perspective, like, they're a team and they're focused on winning, and part of being a good player and being a player who's, you know, at the top and contending for championships, part of that is being available. You know, I guess the equivalent in real life sports would be, you know, a player who isn't injury prone, somebody who's there, who's playing all the games, who's, you know, in all the time. So it's definitely unfortunate that, because I'm assuming that that's the reason they felt the need to part ways with him. So it's definitely an unfortunate situation. And again, I guess, you know, props to Spartan for taking it well and for being very professional about the situation. It's just definitely unfortunate to see for somebody like Spartan, who has been through such a roller coaster throughout the Halo Infinite life cycle. He's been on good teams and he's been on bad teams, and he's been dropped and he's been benched, and just so much stuff has happened. And part of it, I think, has been due to stuff that he's done, and part of it has been out of his control. But overall, like, one thing that you can't deny about Spartan is that he's a top talent in this game. I think that when he plays, he's arguably a top 5 player, or at least challenging to be a top 5 player. You know, if we talk about the best players in this game, you know, you'd probably say Lucid, Renegade, Frosty, Legend, Stellar, Bound, and then outside of all those players, I like Spartan and Falcated are probably right there knocking on the door. So just he's one of the best players in this game, one of the best Slayers in this game, and one of the most electric players in this game. I mean, I love watching him play. I love seeing the passion and the hype and the shit talk and everything on stage. Regardless of how you may feel about his personality or his persona on, you know, Twitter or live stream, like, you can't deny he's disgusting. He's an incredible talent, and he is absolutely electric on the stage. So it's just unfortunate to see him once again not on a team, and hopefully he finds himself on his feet. And again, I know he's got some health problems, so I hope he's able to figure that stuff out and overcome that. And yeah, hopefully again find himself on a team and playing up on the stage again. But yeah, I guess the other side to mention is Kuhlect also dropped from Native. So that was also, I believe, same day we learned about that, that Kuhlect had been dropped from Native. Native obviously has had such a rocky start to this season, and honestly, like, if you go back to even last year, like, Native, since they have entered Halo, has had so many different problems with players. And that's not to say anything negative about Native as an organization, because I have nothing bad to say about them. But it just seems like more and more unfortunate stuff. You know, they obviously fielded 2 teams last season. They had Native Red and Native White, and they had all kinds of problems with the Native White roster. They couldn't figure out what roster they wanted to have last year, and they were cycling players in and out and changing every single tournament. And then also they had the visa issues with Druck and all that stuff, which caused them to make a roster change last year. I believe that was last year anyway. But yeah, Kuhlect dropped. It's been a whirlwind for them this season. Obviously, they were supposed to play with Neptune, and then there ended up being some drama there. And Neptune did not last very long after his Halo return. He has already since gone back to COD, and I think he's playing like S&D chows and stuff, trying to get back into the Call of Duty scene. That didn't work. I think it was Last Shot that they tried to get after that ended up, he said he was going to play with them, and maybe he chose to play with somebody else at the last minute. But since they have had this new roster with APG and Miquin at the helm, and they've only had the one native team, it's been a constant cycle. Barcode's back in the lineup now, and I think the main point of speculation now is that tapping is probably going to be reinserted into the lineup, and so you would probably be looking at a lineup of APG, Miquin, tapping buttons, and Barcode. That just seems like the easiest move for them to make, considering tapping buttons has already played for native, multiple versions of this native roster between native and native white. But also, as we just got done talking about, now with Spartan as a free agent, Spartan, obviously, regardless, again, of his reputation or standing in the community, and even regardless of the potential risks that you might perceive with him as a player, with maybe potential health issues, he is not somebody you can overlook, because his talent is just that good. Like I said, I think he's easily a top 10 player in this game when he's on. So obviously it'll be interesting to see if native picks up tapping buttons, or if they decide to go pick up Spartan, or if they go in a completely different route and maybe we see a curveball here. But I believe, as far as HCS goes in the competitive scene, I believe those were the two big things that occurred this past week, and I'm sure we'll revisit this next week on next week's show, once we learn some more and maybe some people have found some homes and we've got some more team changes to talk about then. But yeah, crazy stuff. Hope nothing but the best for Spartan and for Kuhlect, and it'll be interesting to see how Sentinels rounds out their roster now, and also two, what native does and how they round out their roster, because I think native is in an easier spot than Sentinels, because in Sentinels' case, you get rid of Spartan and now you have to go replace his firepower. And realistically, what players are on the market for Sentinels that you can replace that are as good or better than Spartan in terms of slaying ability? So it'll be interesting to see what Sentinels does. I have no idea who they target. I don't even really know who's available at this point, or who could become available, like who could maybe flip-flop teams. I just have no idea what's going to happen. It'll be very interesting to see, because I think we are getting pretty close to London stuff. I believe the qualifiers for the London event are like this coming weekend, or like next weekend, maybe. So both of those teams have to figure out their rosters soon, because obviously the quadrant major is coming up very soon, which we will definitely be talking about a lot more as we approach closer to it. But yeah, that's all the competitive stuff that's been going on this week. Also this week, we had an HCS playdate. Let's see, this past week, we had two events, actually. We had the Halo 3 Legendary co-op stream that I did with Eli X, Jeremy Stress, and Ubernick. That was a ton of fun. We blasted through the Halo campaign on Legendary in, it was around 3 hours, a little over. I think we beat ODST on Legendary in like 2.5 hours or something like that. But we also, we blasted through Halo 3. It did not take that long. But it was a ton of fun. Great time, and I believe we are going to have a date we're going to play the Halo Reach campaign next, and there should be a date for that on the HCS calendar pretty soon. So yeah, we've played through, I guess, ODST and Halo 3 now, and we're going to try to play through maybe not the rest of them. I did the Halo 2 Legendary campaign with Jeremy Stress. We just did that 2-player, because Combat Evolved and Halo 2 are only 2-player, unfortunately. But all the Halo campaigns that are 4-player, I believe we're probably going to play the campaigns for, with the exception of Halo 5, because unfortunately it's not on MCC. Maybe one day. But yeah, I've had a ton of fun playing back through the campaigns and playing them with that group specifically. Like between myself, Eli, Jeremy Stress, and Nick, that's like such a wide variety of skill sets and like Halo histories, and like we all have such a different array of experience with the Halo campaigns. Like Nick and I definitely have played like a ton of the Halo campaigns, and Eli's played like some of them, and like, well, Eli's played them but not played a ton of them, or not played it a ton rather. And then Jeremy Stress is probably the least experienced out of all of us in terms of campaign stuff. So it's been really good time. That's a really vibey squad, and obviously real good friends with all those guys. So it's been great to do that, and I'm looking forward to playing the rest of them. But aside from that, because we had the Halo 3 Legendary co-op playthrough, but then a couple days after that, we had a matchmaking play date that was myself, Eli, Oath, and Nick, and that was also a ton of fun. Uh, we just played some. We played some fours. We played some firefight. Some of the grunt apocalypse stuff that's in the game. We played some squad battle. I really enjoy those play dates because it's always fun when we have like an event for like an activation or a play date with our HCS stuff. Like it's cool when we're doing like a legendary campaign, or when we're specifically showcasing a new map, or like there was a Forge showcase the other day as well. Uh, but I really enjoy also when it's just the matchmaking events, when it's just like when I just get to chill with a few of my friends and we just play matchmaking for a couple hours and just vibe and talk with the chat, and it's a ton of fun. I probably enjoy those, honestly, maybe a little bit more than like the big special event ones, just because, like I said, it's good to just chill with the homies. And I mean, like, those are the vibes that like really got us all into Halo in the first place, right? It's just like chilling, having a good time, talking, joking with the friends, talking shit, playing some chill games. Uh, there's kind of nothing. There's kind of nothing better than that. So I enjoy those. So those were the two playdates we had last week. Was the Halo 3 Legendary playthrough, as well as the matchmaking playdate that I had with Eli, SJ, and Nick. So that was last week. That was a ton of fun. And then moving forward to this coming week, we have a couple more, or I think I have one event this coming week. Let me look at the calendar really quickly. Um, yeah, okay, so from the day that you guys watch this, tomorrow we will be live on Twitch for a Grassroots Adventures playdate, which I believe is just another matchmaking playdate. And that one will be myself, Eli X, Real Life Spartan, and Jeremy Stress. And I believe that's what we have for this week. So let's see. That is Wednesday the 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, which I believe is 6 p.m. Eastern, right? I don't know if that's correct. 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. Uh, but yeah, that'll be tomorrow from the day that this goes out. So if you guys are interested in that, we will definitely have some drops. I'm not sure what the drops are going to be, but if you're interested in some good vibes, watching some good fun Halo stuff, and also getting some cool rewards for the game, definitely come check that out. And then that should be it for next week. And I believe we have London qualifiers, the online qualifiers, next weekend. And then also next Monday, I have another HCS play dates, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, on next week's show as well. But have another play date next week on the 22nd with Real Life Spartan, I Spiteful, and Red Gear. So some homies that I don't get to play with as often, which will definitely be a lot of fun. Obviously, Real Life Spartan RLS is a good friend of ours. We've known him for a few years at this point, and obviously he's been main stage teammates with me. We played together on the main stage at Charlotte. So, and I believe at Fort Worth as well. We also played in the show match together at Fort Worth. So love RLS. He's been a good friend of ours for a long time, and I've hung out with Spiteful. We hung out at Worlds last year because he was streaming for our charity event with us at the HCS streamer booth at the World Championship last year. So I got to hang out with Spiteful a little bit. but definitely have not hung out with Spiteful or Redgear that much. I think Redgear was at Worlds as well. I think I met him for a minute. Um, but I haven't hung out with either of them nearly as much as I would like to. So it'll be good to game with some different homies. But like I said, that's next week on the 22nd. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of it for Halo stuff this week that I wanted to talk about. So just a couple things going on. Obviously, the roster changes. Spartan and Kuhlect now finding themselves as free agents. That's probably the big headline of this one. But yeah, I think aside from that, I'll just kind of give you guys the general rundown. That's the State of the Union this week. But just kind of outside of that, it is baseball season now. We are fully in swing of baseball season, and also the day that this goes live is the day that the NBA playoffs begin. So I will be fully entrenched, fully ingrained in watching basketball and baseball because I believe the Braves are playing the Astros and the Rangers in back-to-back series. Which, by the way, I'm a Braves fan. Y'all didn't know that about me. And then when it comes to basketball, I'm not sure. I would probably be because I live in Nashville, so I would probably be a Grizzlies fan. Obviously, the Grizzlies are shit this year because their whole roster done got fucking hurt. But I'm not really a fan of any specific team in basketball. I'm more like because I got really into basketball 5 or 6 years ago at this point, and I'm more or less just I watch everybody. I watch all the good teams, and I just enjoy good basketball and watching good games. So I'll probably be watching the majority of the playoffs, regardless of who's playing. And yeah, that's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, aside from that, the only thing I really had left to talk about today was just kind of a general rundown of what I've been doing for fun recently, what I've been watching, what I've been playing. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the last episode, but I'm not sure how much I talked about it. But I have recently been rewatching the Clone Wars because I've grown up a huge Marvel, huge Star Wars fan. But around I guess it was during the pandemic, probably 2020 or 2021, whenever like Disney Plus was really in like the height of like the streaming and putting out all the series, like I definitely hit the burnout with both the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff. And so I just quit watching everything. I just didn't give a shit anymore. And so I really checked out of all the Star Wars stuff for a few years, and because of that, I never finished Clone Wars, and I also never watched Bad Batch, or I think there's also one other thing, but I can't remember. There's also something else. But there are a few things I didn't catch. Like the only Star Wars thing that I've watched in the past couple of years, probably been The Mandalorian. Ahsoka, that was the other thing. I haven't seen Ahsoka. And as somebody who, like I said, I grew up a huge Star Wars fan, huge fan of the prequels, a huge fan of the Clone Wars when I was younger. I definitely wanted to finish that and watch the new season because I want to see how it all connects. And then obviously now with like the Bad Batch and different stuff coming out, they're sort of continuing like the story. So and then also Ahsoka was the other example because spoiler for that. I mean, obviously that's pretty old at this point, and I haven't even seen it. But I know there's a lot of Clone Wars stuff and references and cameos and certain things in that show that sort of relate back to the Clone Wars. So that's another reason why I want to sort of catch up on all that stuff. But yeah, I've been revisiting that, and I've been watching the Clone Wars in chronological order because they released it in like a really weird order, I guess. But I've been doing that and watching all the arcs in chronological order, and that's been a lot of fun. So I've always been a big like because Star Wars is like really controversial for like what order do you watch it in, and like whenever it comes to anything, usually 99 times out of 100, I will always argue that you should watch it in release order, no matter what it is. Because this is my big argument for Star Wars. This might be like my hot take of the show. But whenever you show somebody Star Wars, it's always a big debate. Do you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or do you watch 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3? And I've always said you always got to do release order because you would want a new viewer to experience it the way that everybody else experienced it. Like, I want you to come to love this thing exactly the way that I came to love this thing. I wouldn't want you to experience it a different way because then we might have different feelings about it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, like, I don't know. It especially for specifically the example of Star Wars, where in the prequels and specifically in the Phantom Menace, the first prequel where you follow a 9-year-old Anakin, it's like, and also there's Jar Jar and like all this goofy shit's going on in politics, whatever the fuck. How are you supposed to give a fuck about anything, about any of the context, about anything in Phantom Menace if you don't have the context of like, all right, this brother's gonna turn into Darth Vader, and that's why I should care about all this. Like, if you watch that movie blind, then you're just watching a movie about, again, it's just some politics and like a blockade and trade disputes and this goofy ass little kid who's fucking, you know what I'm saying? Uh, so normally, again, 99 times out of 100, my argument is always to watch in release order. But I will say chronological order in this specific instance with the Clone Wars has been very, very good. And I don't know why they released it the way it did. I don't know why they released it out of order. I don't know if it was just because they had to move it around because of TV schedules or air times, or they had to jumble them around because they combined a few of them to make the movie, and then I don't know. But like, no bullshit, especially in the first like 3 or 4 seasons, there will be like an episode that you watch at the beginning that the sequel episode, the episode that takes place directly after that one, you might not, in the actual episode list, might not show up for another 2 seasons. There will straight up be an episode that takes place 2 seasons removed from another episode that just continues the story with no context. And so I don't know why the hell they made it that way, but watching the Clone Wars specifically in chronological order has been pretty good. And also provides context to a lot of weird one-off episodes that I watched when I was a kid where I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But yeah, that's been super interesting. The Clone Wars is obviously super fire, so getting a chance to sort of rewatch that. And at this point, I've been rewatching it it's been a couple weeks, so I'm like 4 seasons in, or like 3.5 seasons in. So I'm pretty much past all the early stuff, and I'm to the point where it's like it's really starting to get good. And yeah, I've been enjoying that. I've also been watching. This has kind of been for the past like few months. This has been going on, but I've still been watching a ton of Doctor Who. Doctor Who was kind of another one of those great loves of mine from when I was a kid. Was one of my absolute favorite shows growing up, and I would still probably put it up there. It's still probably like, if gun to my head, if you asked me what my favorite show was, I'd probably tell you Doctor Who. But over the past year, with obviously, I guess it's like a year and a half ago now, they announced that Doctor Who was going to move to Disney Plus, and that David Tennant was going to come back, and he was going to do the specials, and then it was going to be produced on Disney Plus after that. Which I was super excited for because I watched, obviously growing up, I watched a ton of, it was mostly David Tennant and Matt Smith, and then after Matt Smith left and turned into Capaldi, I sort of checked out because not because I didn't like Peter Capaldi or because the show was like ass or anything. It was more or less like I was in high school and I just sort of moved on, and like that's also like when I got really into Halo and started doing that a lot. But rewatching that over the past year to sort of catch up and sort of get back into it, to catch back up for the Disney Plus stuff has been super awesome. It was obviously so great to get to revisit all that stuff that I watched as a kid, the David Tennant and the Matt Smith stuff, which Matt Smith, by the way, is my favorite by a long shot. He is absolutely legendary in the role, and is my absolute favorite. But rewatching it and getting to experience not only the stuff that I enjoyed when I was a kid, and then also the new stuff that I hadn't seen or that I had only seen a little bit, super great. Like watching through, specifically like watching through Peter Capaldi's stuff. Like I had seen some of it, but I didn't realize just how good some of it was. Like some of the Capaldi stuff, I would argue, is some of the absolute best of the entire show. And I think Peter Capaldi is certainly probably the best actor to portray the Doctor of certainly any of the modern incarnations. Um, but yeah, uh, absolutely loved rewatching all of that stuff and then getting to see. I am still going through Jodie Whittaker's run at the moment. I watched all the new specials with David Tennant and the newest one with the newest Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. I did watch all that stuff when it came out, but I'm still in the process of going through Jodie Whittaker's run. I think I'm about to finish her first season. And I'll also say, because her run is very controversial, everybody says that not I don't think it's any big complaints about her or her performance. I think it's I don't think people very much liked the show running or the writing whenever she was the Doctor. So I think it's more of a complaint about that. But I know that her run's very controversial and that people don't like it very much. But I will say, for what I've seen of it thus far, it's been pretty good. It's been more good than bad. I've enjoyed it for what it is. So I'm curious to see the rest of it and see just why people don't like it so much, because I think also from my understanding, her first season is perceived as her best, and the next two are supposed to not be very good. So that might be interesting to see. But regardless, I'm gonna watch it anyway and give it a fair shake. But yeah, I also mentioned that I had watched the new stuff as well. So I watched the three specials. They did three specials over the holidays with David Tennant and Catherine Tate. They brought them back, and I really enjoyed those. Thought they were pretty good. They weren't super amazing. They didn't blow me away, but I did really enjoy them. And I thought the third one, the final David Tennant special that had Neil Patrick Harris as the villain, the Celestial Toy Maker. I thought that was a really good one. I definitely really enjoyed that. And then obviously they did one special, more or less, with Ncuti Gatwa, the newest actor who's going to portray the 15th Doctor. And haven't seen much of him or the new companion just yet, obviously, because their season, I think, is due to come out in like a month or maybe a little bit less. But I just have to say, like, Ncuti Gatwa, obviously, he was in Sex Education, I believe. He was just in Masters of the Air. I think he was in Barbie as well. But he has been electric, I think, to start his performance as the Doctor. So much energy and charisma, like immediately stole the show as soon as he showed up. So I'm very excited and intrigued to see his run as the Doctor, and then obviously the showrunner from the David Tennant era, Russell T Davies, is returning to do all that stuff. So I'm curious to see how it all turns out. Like I said, of all the new specials, the 4 that they did on Disney Plus, the 3 with David Tennant and the one with Ncuti Gatwa, I thought they were all pretty good. I didn't think any of them were amazing, but I thought they were all pretty good. So I will be curious to see if any of the new stuff holds up and continues to be good, because nothing, I don't think, has really reached that level of quality in like any of those Peter Capaldi seasons that I was just talking about, or like the good of the Matt Smith run or the David Tennant run. So yeah. That's pretty much what I've been watching and doing recently. I've been gaming a lot recently. If you follow me on Twitch, which, by the way, I'm streaming every single day, you should definitely be following over there. But we have been playing a ton of games recently. Obviously, I mentioned earlier on in the show, we've had a ton of Halo events and HCS playdates and stuff going on recently. So we've been playing a ton of Halo and going through all the Halo campaigns and doing all that stuff. But also been playing a ton of other games, which you can see all that stuff on my Twitch and also my second channel, which is where all my VODs and rebroadcasts excuse me, go. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. But we just finished playing through GTA 4, which was a ton of fun. And we are currently playing through. We started Hogwarts Legacy a couple weeks ago, and then also we're doing GTA 5 right now. So if any of that is of interest to you, excuse me, definitely go check that out. But yeah, that's been a ton of fun. It was super. I actually got super scared. I'm not gonna lie, because I've been playing all these games on Xbox Series X, and we got to the end of GTA 4, which I've been playing through backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X. So I'm playing the 360 version of GTA 4, scaled up for the Xbox Series X. And apparently, there's like a game-breaking glitch at the end of that game on the very last mission, where because GTA 4 has been scaled up and because they've increased the frame rate from 30 to 60 FPS, there was a sequence where you had to like spam A in a QuickTime event, and because of the frame rate increase, you physically could not press the A button fast enough to complete the thing. So we got all the way to the end of GTA 4, got to the last mission, and got to that part, and the game broke, and I thought I was fucked, bro. I thought I just played the entire game for no reason. We got right to the end just to get blue balls. And also for context, I've been playing through all the GTA games. We just played through San Andreas on the definitive edition, like shit remastered collection. We just played through San Andreas, and I got locked out due to a similar glitch at the end of that game and wasn't able to finish the last mission. So I was like, brother, there is no way that 2 GTA games in a row I'm getting stopped at the very end, 99% completed of the game, and then the game just says, fuck you, you can't finish. But I looked up, and there were a bunch of people obviously that had that problem, because it was a glitch across all people who played on Xbox Series X. And there were, I was getting worried for a second, because there were people in the comments talking about I had to use an electric toothbrush and put it on my A button so that it would vibrate and press the A button faster than like I could and shit. And I was like, oh hell no, bro, we not about to be doing all this shit. But finally I came across this video of this one brother who held his control. He was like, bro, this is gonna seem weird, but trust me. And he held his controller sideways, and he like held his finger above the A button and like moved his finger back and forth. I know, bro, crazy as fuck. Seemed weird. I was like, oh hell no, there's no way this shit works, right? Read all the comments. They were like, bro, I can't believe this shit worked. I thought I was gonna have to go find an electric toothbrush. All this shit. And bro, lo and behold, we tried that goofy ass shit and it worked. I done sat there and fingered the shit out of my Xbox controller, and we were able to complete the game. So hey, shout out to that guy, bro. Cause we were able to finish GTA 4 and were able to beat the game. Cause I would have been so checked. But yeah, that's probably the goofiest way I've ever had to beat a game. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, able to finish GTA 4 and moved on to GTA 5, and so we've already played the first little bit of GTA 5. So moving forward on the stream in the second channel, we are going to finish GTA 5, and that'll be the last of the GTA games. We'll have played through all of them. And then we're going to finish Hogwarts Legacy. We have, I believe, a couple Assassin's Creed games left to do. There's like maybe a couple odd Call of Duty campaigns we want to play. And then I think we're going to play the Mass Effect games after that. So playing a ton of fun games and really enjoying just playing a variety of shits over on the stream. So definitely, like I said, go check out the stream. Go check out the second channel. We are pretty much streaming every single day, and that's been a ton of fun. So yeah, playing a bunch of Halo and playing a ton of other games as well. And I gotta say, bro, more or less, I mean, you call me a variety streamer at this point, more or less, but I'm enjoying it. Like I said, been playing a ton of stuff and just really, really having a great time. So, yeah, I believe that's probably about it for what I had for the show today. So yeah, pretty crazy week, eventful week as far as Halo stuff goes. As far as stuff for me, there wasn't a whole lot for me other than my cousin's wedding was the other day, and that was a ton of fun, which you guys obviously saw the result of if you watched the last Zero to Hero episode, because I was drunk as shit in that video. I had a little too good of a time at my cousin's wedding, which was great, by the way. Um, but realized shit, I have to record a video when I got back, and I think I did a pretty good job of like maintaining composure and like playing pretty well because I don't think we played very bad that episode. But I don't, and like I said, I don't know how much of it was showing or how much y'all could tell, but I was fucking sauced. It was it was not good. But yeah, that's more or less it for the past week. So looking forward to this week. Like I said, just got a couple more Halo things, including a an HCS playdate tomorrow from the day that you guys are watching this. So tomorrow, twitch.tv/recliximer, 4 p.m. Pacific, which again is 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, from whenever you guys are watching this, we will be live on Twitch with some drops for a grassroots playdate. So remember to go catch us there. But other than that, that is going to do it for the highlight reel this week. So appreciate all you guys taking a little time out of your day and out of your busy schedule to chill with me and to talk about some stuff. It was fun. I actually, the past couple of weeks recording these 2 episodes and sort of getting into the habit of doing this podcast has been really fun. And I found myself actually really looking forward to sitting down and recording this episode. And even though I didn't think I had a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm looking forward to doing more. And I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. So yeah. If you are watching this on YouTube, links are in the description for all the stuff that I talked about in this video, my Twitch and my second channel and all that stuff, obviously. But also, if you would like to go listen to this podcast on Spotify or any platform that you get your podcasts on, a link is down in the description for the podcast link. As well as if you are listening to this podcast on another platform, make sure to go check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/reclaimer. Subscribe, and yeah, we're doing stuff every single day, and it's been great. Doing consistent content. Really been enjoying it. So yeah, that is another episode of the highlight reel. Again, I appreciate y'all for listening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or your night, whatever you got going on. I hope you guys are doing well, and if not, I hope everything turns around for you and you start to do better. But yeah, hoping nothing but the best for y'all. Remember to get after me and let me know how y'all are doing. And with that being said, I will let y'all go. So yeah, catch y'all later. Peace out, everybody.